somewhere, but
close that back up.
so cool.
Still playing in front?
Oh, yeah.
Start up and again in the fall?
No, I've been playing all through the south of the
Pump, pump.
I don't remember if I did or not.
What a place.
It is.
I played there years, I want to say 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Probably hasn't changed.
I hear
Wood
it's
floor.
yeah, I hear it's a lot more mellow than it used to be. As far as fights. Oh. Of course, we only play from 7 to 9:30.
That's nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Sherry's is closed.
I bet.
Really? That's the hot ticket in the Crump Pump.
Well, there's a palace there. Right at the stop sign.
Oh, Palace?
The stop sign.
Oh. And up, if you go north of from the stop sign, there's Fox and Hound Hunt Club, I think.
Yeah, something like that. There's also the VFW. That's about it.
Don't stray off the main road. No. You may never come home.
You'll hold on to us. Playing a lot? What's going on?
4 hours and then
Had a good summer.
4 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Doing solo stuff?
All the directors. So he went with Dave.
Songwriters in the round.
To the president's house for a lamb. Yeah. And then he went to Dave after.
How about you?
Yeah, playing a lot with Dale. From the old steel wheels thing. And Cornpole's been doing some stuff. When Shrem's can't make it, Spaulding usually does.
Oh, okay. You've been.
Yeah. And then one time, Jim Nelson didn't make it as well.
I'm not sure about, yeah.
Got a 9-gallon tank and I fill it up about every once a month.
You know when you're ready, and then I'll do a couple small housekeeping announcements.
I think I'm ready.
Okay.
I read 25% of all the refineries are shut down.
So good morning, or good afternoon, I should say, to everyone. Feels like morning. So thank you to everyone for coming. This is our first venture here at this house with a house concert. So we're looking to do many more of these, and special thanks to Rebecca Loebe for making the trek here after a long night, I understand, of and a long travel, and her better half is downstairs sleeping right now. So, but anyways, just a couple housekeeping rules. If you guys could please put your phones to silent or turn them off. If we ask that we're considerate of the performer, and but sometimes things happen that we really can't control. So anyways, we have dogs, neighbors have dogs sometimes that bark, and if you've ever seen any videos or pictures of Rebecca, she has a smile in every picture, so I'm sure she can roll with just about any situation. Bathrooms, if you go into the house through the kitchen, take a right, go past the piano, there's a little hallway there, there's a sign on the bathroom that says bathroom, so feel free to help yourself there. And other than that, I think we're all set to go. So without further ado, everyone, Rebecca Loebe, thank you.
Thanks, Eric. Everyone's here now. Here we go.
So much for good goodbyes. I mumble as you try to paint the door shut on your way. I wonder where time flies. Do birds take the months by the wing and show them how to disappear? And if so, why'd they leave me here? If all I have to do is promise not to love you, all I have to do is lie. If all I have to do is promise not to love you, all I have to do is lie. Lie awake and cry. Lie awake and cry. I've tried more, I've cared less, I've prayed for forgiveness, I've been a cold voice on the phone, but that don't make me less alone. If all I have to do is promise not to love you, all I have to do is lie. If all I have to do is promise not to love you, all I have to do is lie. Lie awake and cry. Lie awake and cry. All I have to do is, all I have to do, all I have to do is lie. All I have to do is, all I have to do, all I have to do is lie. If all I have to do is promise not to love you, all I have to do is lie. If all I have to do is promise not to love you, all I have to do is Woo! Thanks so much. Well, I've been told there are a number of musicians in this audience, so I'll go ahead and tune that for you. I'm coming down from, I live in Austin, Texas, and a friend of mine from Austin who grew up in, I can't pronounce it, Leelanau County? Is that, sure, Leelanau? Okay. She grew up there, like in Glen Arbor area, and she's been talking for years about trying to get all of her friends from Austin to come up and visit this beautiful place she's from, and she realized the only way to make that happen was to throw a music festival. So she did that and booked a bunch of her favorite bands and artists from Austin, sort of as a way to introduce her home community to her new home community, I guess. And also, you know, she works for South by Southwest. She's got all the skills to make it happen. And it was a really beautiful, fun kind of family weekend up there. And I met Emily through the Kerrville Folk Festival, which is where this capo is from, which I borrowed from Eric. So, you know, everything's kind of full circle here right now. This is a brand new tune. Time to pay the bills again. Makes a woman feel like running. You keep a backpack by the door. You keep asking what that's for. I can't find a nice way to say you don't know who I am. You don't know who I am today. I'm the one that got away. Maybe I'll roll out at dawn. Headlights off, radio on. The open road will take me back. You'll move on, you always have. We've all got our own hands to play. You don't know who I am. You don't know who I am. I'm the one that got away. So like I said, this is a new song, and I feel like I should confess something to you guys at this point. You never know where inspiration is going to come from, right? At least I don't. I'm not a super prolific songwriter. My overall songwriting process could be best described as neurotic. But I got an email. This song started with a freaking email. I got an email from a man I met at the South by Southwest Music Conference, and he was a music supervisor for a TV show, and he wrote to me and asked if I would consider writing an original song for a character on a television show to perform as an original song within the show. And he sent me this long, like, dossier about this character. You know, she was a runaway from New York City. She was working at a bar in New Mexico. She was covered in tattoos. She was super tough on the outside, but a total softie on the inside. You know, like really groundbreaking stuff. And I'm reading this email and just thinking, like, no. I'm not that kind of writer. I can't just conjure a song up out of thin air because you sent me an email. And then I got to the bottom of the email and it said, if we pick your song, we will pay you $7,000. I thought, well, it can't hurt to try. And the funniest part about the email to me is that the creative direction they wanted to go in was a cross between Neil Young and Lana Del Rey. Was the reference point for the song. And this is what I came up with. I listened to quite a bit of Lana Del Rey. I basically
unintentionally ripped off the chord progression to Heart of Gold. There, we've got our Neil Young. And then I didn't realize that for a few weeks. And I was like, well, I really hit that one on the head. And then for the Lana Del Rey part, I noticed that she sings about her parents a lot. So I threw some strong parental references in the bridge. And I'm going to sing that for you now. I got my mother's mind, my father's appetite. I travel pretty light these days. Jerks. No, they picked somebody else's songs. I actually wrote 2 songs for the project, and both of them are songs that I wouldn't have otherwise written, that I like and I play, and I figure that's a win, you know? So, let's see. It's funny, though, because like I said, I never know where inspiration is going to come from for songs, and this next song kind of came at me in a also very bizarre way. I met a kid on an airplane one day. I was flying from Miami to Atlanta, and he was sitting next to me, and he was flying all the way to Chicago. And I just wanted to go to sleep because I'm kind of excellent at that. I can sleep from takeoff to landing. It's my superpower on pretty much any flight. But I have to meet a few base requirements. You know, I need to sit by the window, pull the window shade down, lean up against it, pull my hoodie down over my eyes, and not talk to anyone. And if I can do those simple things, then I can sleep the whole flight. But I was just like in between steps 2 and 3. You know, like the window shade was down, the hoodie was like just covering my eyes when this little voice next to me says, excuse me, would you mind pulling up the window shade? And I was like, come on. And so I like pull my hoodie up and I look over and I see this young guy and he looked pretty nervous and like uncomfortable with his surroundings. And I was like, well, I'm not going to deny a stranger the ability to watch the miracle of air travel. So I pull up the window shade and then I just sat there kind of quietly hoping that he didn't talk to me anymore. Because I consider myself a friendly person, but I think that before 8 a.m. on an airplane, all bets are off. So he didn't catch my don't talk to me vibe though, and what he then said was, I've never been on a plane before, and my heart just melted, and I was like, oh honey, it's gonna be fine, we're gonna have fun. So I start like just chatting with him about what flying is like, and then I start asking him questions to distract him during takeoff because I can tell he's pretty nervous. So then I ask him, you know, how old he is, and that's when he tells me he's 18, and I ask him where he's going, and that's when I learn he's going through to Chicago. And then I asked if he's been there before, because, I mean, no, it's far from Miami, but I figured maybe he had driven or taken a train or something. But no, he said not only had he never left Florida, he had actually never left the city of Miami. This was his first time leaving Miami. So it's like, well, now I'm curious. I'm not even just asking to be polite. We're fully in the air. I could go to sleep, but I want to know, like, what is so important? Why are you flying to Chicago today? And he smiled really big, and he sat up really straight, and he said, I'm flying to Chicago to get married. I know! That was my reaction too, but I had to keep it together because he was sitting like right in front of me. So I think I did a great job. I said, wow! Congratulations! Please tell me everything about yourself. So we talked the whole flight, and he turned out to be an incredibly nice young guy. He'd had a rough upbringing. He had 6 bad older brothers, and they all grew up in foster care because their parents had left when they were young. And he said that being the youngest of this big kind of rowdy pack of boys, that by the time he got to high school, no one was paying very close attention to what he was up to. And he was up to no good. He was spending a lot of time on the streets. He was skipping school more often than he was going. He was falling in with a pretty dangerous crowd. And he said that his whole life was kind of teetering, and he didn't really know how to fix it. He felt pretty out of control. But then one day in 9th grade, he went to school, and he met this girl. And his whole face just lit up when he talked about her. She was brilliant and smart and beautiful, kind, lovely, all the good things. And they hit it off. They fell deeply in love. and she motivated him to get his act together. And they dated all through high school, and when she graduated, she was moving on to college in Chicago, and she promised him that if he graduated, he could fly up to Chicago and they would get married. So it took him a little extra time to get through school. I know, I really couldn't make this up if I tried. Took him a little extra time to get through school, but he was really motivated. And he had just finished, and I met him the week he graduated, and he was on the first flight he could catch to fly up to Chicago and be reunited with his fiancée for the first time in like 10 months. They hadn't seen each other since she left. But he assured me they talked on the phone every night, and the romance was strong, and that she was going to pick him up that day at the airport at about noon or 1. Her mom was going to be in the car, and the three of them were going straight from the airport to City Hall. And he was going to be married by the end of the day. I know. And then he was going to spend the weekend in Chicago with his new bride. And then he had to be back on a plane back in Chicago on Tuesday because he hadn't gotten his afternoon shift at Chi-Chi's covered. And he really needed that job. So by the end of the flight, I was completely in love with him, but he was obviously already spoken for. So I left him alone, you know. It was his wedding day, after all. It seemed like the decent thing to do. But I couldn't stop thinking about him, so I took his story home with me and I wrote this song about it. This is called The Chicago Kid. Well, I was born in South Florida and left there to die. I spent 18 long years in the weeds. I found it hard to believe in even changing of seasons. The leaves only turned on TV. And now I'll fly if I have to, though I would swim twice as long to be the one she'll press her back to. I am Chicago, go, going, gone. I showed her the stoplight my daddy must have fixed right before he left, a whisper in the wind. She kissed me like a church bell, Lord. She loved me like an anvil, and I haven't had her out of my mind since. And so my grandma told me that I've got his body, and I don't think she meant it unkind. But I'll keep punching these time cards and studying the fine art of working my way up in that girl's mind. And now I'll fly if I have to, though I would swim twice as long to be the one she'll press her back to. I am Chicago, go, going, gone. And one if by land, they say, two if by sea, three little words made a bird out of me. Well, I was born in South Florida, left this July. 18 years served me just fine. So tell the boss I'm off to marry a sweet daughter of the prairie and a kiss it where the sun will never shine. And now I'll fly 'cause I have to, though I would swim twice as long to be the one she'll press her back to. I am Chicago, go, going, gone. Hey, I was born in South Florida, let me die in her arms. I'm Chicago, go, going, gone. Thanks. I wrote this tune after having a brief disagreement with someone about whether I should make scrambled eggs or fried eggs for breakfast. If I've done you wrong, then just say so. If you dramatic. If I stay too long, darling, let me know. Just say so to me. I've slept all night for the first time in years, closer to you than I knew I could be. And I've stayed up nights fighting back my fears that your smile don't light up anymore for me. If I've done you wrong, then just say so. If you want me gone, then so it shall be. If I stayed too long, darling, let me know. Just say so to me. I've stayed up nights waiting for clarity. I knock on the door, not a call. Desperate to hear you still care for me. You can't bear to be terribly far after all. If I done you wrong, then just say so. If you have moved on, I will leave you in peace. But if I'm still your woman, darling, let me know. Just say so to me. Please say so to me. Thanks. So Eric, who was it that requested Easy Money? What's her name? Trish Lewis. And she has a podcast?
She does. She used to work at a local public radio station through Delta College and 90.1, and now Bob's going to say it's just a podcast she does. Yeah, podcast. She'll use the eclectic here.
Got it. I've seen it online. I feel like she's tagged me in some stuff. Well, she's not here, but she asked that I play this song in her stead, so you guys all let her know I did. I released a new record in February called Blink. Yeah, it's so exciting. You guys a lot of you are musicians. You know what a labor of love that is. It's quite a process, and I spent a really long time on this one. I wrote and spent years just writing songs until I had about twice as many as I needed. And then I picked the ones that I felt went best together, and then I started trying to figure out how to get the money together and get a band together and figure out how I wanted these songs to sound. And what I came up with was a sort of 5-piece rock band vibe. So it's just acoustic and electric guitars, keyboards, bass drums, and some really super sick background vocals. But I chose for this record not to add, synthesizers and crazy, strings and horns, because you can go down that rabbit hole forever in the studio. But I wanted to make something that I could recreate on stage with the band, which has been a lot of fun to do. So anyhow, this is tune we recorded for the album, and we recorded it twice. The first time we did sort of what we call the arena rock version, and it wasn't quite fitting right, and on the last day we had a little extra time, so we went for like a more sort of spacey, ambient sort of vibe, and what we ended up with felt exactly right to me. Easy money's hard to earn. Sell your soul for a lesson learned. This side of hell don't nothing burn like easy money. Easy money's gonna lie to you, yeah. That's what lying and liars do. Can nobody twist the truth like easy money? Call your mom to say you're sorry. You took a wrong turn on highway robbery. Drop the phone when she starts asking loaded questions like, how's your day been? Easy money's a beautiful bitch. Feels so good to scratch that itch. You'll go broke trying to get your fix with easy money. Call your mama to say you're sorry. You took a wrong turn on highway robbery. Drop the phone when she starts asking loaded questions like, how's your day been? Easy money, there's no such thing, just a finger stained from a fool's gold ring. Nothing scars you, nothing stings like easy money. Thanks. Did a lot of bad things when I was young. Probably the worst of them I done were done to you. I held you in my hands, didn't understand what I had to lose. You must think I am so smart if you think of me at all. I came in like a ball of fire and trouble. It burned straight to the ground, and I didn't stick around to see if you were found among the rubble. Did a lot of bad things when I was young. Probably the worst of them I done were done to you. I held you in my hands, didn't understand what I had to lose. sounds kind of like a battery issue. But let's try a chord first.
Do you need a battery?
Maybe. That would be a longer process. I'd probably just borrow a guitar before I... Yeah. Let's see if this does it first. It just goes right in the instrument thing. And also, is there phantom power on the cord?
No.
Okay, all right. No problem. Because if it's the battery in there, then I can save it a bit by... All right, cool. We're good. Thank you. We'll see if this does it. I like this cable. It's pretty.
It's pretty cool.
This is another newer tune. It's about going home. I've been waiting for hours now for my homebound train. Got a cold cup of coffee and a lot to explain. Lake Louise. Think you guys can sing that part with me later? It's just 2 words. Lake Louise, Lake Louise. Let's try it now. Lake Louise. Lake Louise. Beautiful. I was hungry and reckless. As young and naive, I was seeking attention. You asked nothing of me. Lake Louise, Lake Louise. Can I walk on your water? Can I sleep on your shore? Am I safe in your harbor anymore? Old man by the window, wearing moth-eaten tweed, sheds a tear in the shadow. I think I know what he needs. Lake Louise, Lake Louise. Can I walk on your water? Can I sleep on your blank record. This is actually the first song that I wrote for the new album. And I wrote it on my way home from a gig one night. I was within 100 miles of home, which means I'm going to sleep in my own bed. But it was a late, long drive, and I was tired, and I had the windows open, and, you know, listening to the radio loud to try and keep myself awake. You know, all the tricks. And this song came on the radio. Not this song wasn't written yet, but another song came on the radio, and suddenly, I swear it transported me through time. All of a sudden, I wasn't in my sensible 2007 Toyota Prius. I was in my mom's minivan, and I was driving home from a gig, and I was driving around. I wasn't driving home from a gig. I was in my mom's minivan, like back in high school, you know, out past curfew, like listening to some mixtape I'd made for some stupid boy, and I felt it so vividly. It was amazing. And then the song changed, and I snapped back to present day reality, and I spent the rest of the drive just thinking about how magical it is that songs are like tiny invisible time machines that can whiz us around through our lives and take you back with such precision to the moment when that song imprinted on you. And I wanted to write a song for that power and that magic. And I also figured I should give a shout out to the mixtape, because there's romance in a mixtape that there will never, ever, ever be in a Spotify playlist. Like, hey baby, I made you the Spotify playlist. That does nothing for me. Nothing. So I don't know like what teenagers are doing these days romantically, because I will say that without the mixtape I would have had no game in high school whatsoever. That's kind of where the song comes from. Messy bedroom floor handle, sawed off the door, candles burned and records turned, and time was never wasted. Flowers dried on window panes, hours spent on the mixtape I gave you on our first date when all we did was drive. Oh, you listened so closely, every crossfade high holy. It may not always be this fun, we may not always be together, but we will always have forever young, forever. Summer sprang from every tongue, college came for everyone. Autumn knows the mail moves slow till it doesn't move at all. Still in the top of my dresser, oh, I kept that one letter. They said we may not always be this fun, we may not always be together, but we will always have forever young, on a checkered blanket in the bed of a borrowed truck, we parked out by the airport to try our hands at love. Saw you in the headlight, seeing me for the first time. In the only moment anyone was ever truly shopping at a big box store for records they don't make no more. Crossfade to a song I knew. Forever young ago, we may not always be this fun, we may not always be together, but we will always have forever young. We'll always have forever young. We'll always have forever young, forever. 'Cause 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 'c it my seasonally inappropriate country song. I wrote this as an instructional guide. This is an instructional guide for anyone who's thinking about coming home with me around the holidays for a meal with my extended family. There are some do's and some don'ts conversationally. Do not mention the last election. It started World War III last year. Oh yeah, did I mention I wrote this in 2006? Never gets old. Shy away from conversations about religion. It's just not a good idea. Let's just focus on the food. Let's talk football, not the news. Let's all give our thanks and peace. Bite your tongue when you wanna ask them out of boredom what they think about the war. Am I caving? Is this just aging? Please don't ask me which one scares me more. Let's hold hands and bow our heads. Forgot the words again. Pretend. Bless us, O Lord, for these are gifts which let's all give our thanks for. One more year of peace. Oh, and do not speak of our trip to Greece, love. You see, my mother took a lover there in 1962. Thank you so much. Now, I do feel compelled to mention that my mother was not old enough to take anyone anywhere in 1962. I feel compelled to mention that because she told me to.
The water bottle go? Does anybody see it? Oh, there it is. Okay, great. Ah.
Well, no, I think I'll work my way through this one. I'll be okay. Well, so I haven't told you guys that much about me. I live in Austin, Texas. I didn't grow up there, though. They like to say down there, I'm not from here, but I got here as quick as I could. Yeah. But I grew up in Atlanta, and I love it there. I was born in D.C., grew up mostly in Atlanta. I went to college in Boston, and I got a college degree in audio engineering, and I worked as a sound engineer for a couple of years before I started touring full-time. And one thing I realized pretty quickly about working at a recording studio is that one of the perks is that working at a recording studio means you have the keys to a recording studio. So I started sneaking in at night and during my lunch hour and recording my own songs and demos and stuff. And that's kind of how I got started touring. And then I started, once I had a CD together, I just wanted to play gigs, and I started calling up every venue I could possibly find in the phone book or on the internet or wherever, and just begging to come sing songs for anyone who would listen. And in 2006, I decided I could probably afford to do that full time if I didn't have to go home to Boston every few months to work for a little while to pay my rent and then go back out on tour. So I figured if I canceled out the rent. I could cancel out the day job. And I just put all my stuff in storage and moved into my station wagon and started driving in circles around the country. And it turns out that my math was almost right. I was close. Not quite, but pretty close. I'm glad I did it though. It was a good thing for me to get out there, and I feel like I learned a lot. And in the first couple of years, I kind of continually was, going broke, going home with my tail between my legs, doing another side job for a few months until I could afford to go back out on tour, and then being out on the road again. And then right around 2010, I realized that I hadn't done any other jobs in like a year. And I mean, I did a lot of other jobs in those intervening 4 years. I taught music lessons to kids, and I sold beer at football games, and I worked at recording studios. I was a chauffeur for teenagers for a little while. I think some of you maybe have had that gig too. I did all sorts of things, but in 2010 I was like, wait a minute, I think I've only been doing music, and I almost didn't want to say it out loud because I didn't want to jinx it. I didn't want to break the spell, but so far, luckily this has been all I've done since 2010, and I've been started trying to do it full time in 2004, and I started trying to do it all, in 2006. It's just like it's been a long time. It's been 13 or so years, but it's been fun. And this is one of the songs I wrote on an early tour as I was driving around and feeling pretty disconnected from my normal life. I'd recently quit my job, and I had given up my apartment at that point, and I was just living out of the car, and I was in my little mobile car home and listening to NPR and feeling just far away from reality. And I heard an interview with a man who's a Spanish professor in South Florida, and he moonlights for the government translating sometimes. So they hired him to fly to Iowa, and he got there, and they debriefed him on what his assignment was, and it was his job to tell 397 people that they were being deported for working without proper documentation. And he gets there and he's like, wait, what? You want me to say what to who? He didn't want to be the bearer of that message. And he had some major objections to how the case was being handled, and he strongly considered leaving out of protest, but decided he could be more helpful as a compassionate presence and a smiling face. So he stayed and did his best to deliver the message with as much grace and dignity as he could. And while he was there, he interviewed the people he was translating for, and he shared their stories in a series of essays. And that's kind of where I got involved. He was doing an interview on NPR to promote his essays, and he was sharing these interviews that he had done, and it was story after story after story about people who were working hard here to send money home to the people that they loved the most. And there I was in my little station wagon and feeling kind of disconnected from my loved ones, and I thought, well, wait a minute, if someone's here in this country working hard to send money home to the people they love most in the world, it means they don't get to see the people they love most in the world for months, for years. Sometimes they have no idea when they're going to get to see them again. And not only that, but they don't get to see the fruits of their labor take hold. They're sending money home on blind faith that it's having a positive impact. And that's how much they love their people, their loved ones. It's enough to get up before the sun comes up and work incredibly long hours doing really difficult work with very few protections and really physically and psychologically demanding conditions. And it just struck me that was a really noble act of love, and I wanted to write a song about that sacrifice and about that love. Plus I figured I should take a stab at writing an upbeat jig about U.S. immigration policy. Hooray! Because that's what folk singers do, right? So that's where this tune comes from. This is called Margarita. When I leave, I'll leave the sun hanging straight up in the sky. Leave the apples in their baskets, let them rot and turn away. Cold averted glances, the fear in my bones. When I leave, I'll leave the long arm and the trips behind the shed, bundles in my mattress and the shaking of their heads. I will fare thee well to no one, no, I'll disappear. Up at dawn,
completely with a suitcase full of cash. I'll uncross every border and I'll take every breath till we're standing in a chapel and we're making promises. Oh, the girls will get new dresses and the boys get baseball caps. I'll answer every question and we will dance till every last drop of celebration has been wrung out of our shoes. We'll make love till the morning, make love till we can't move. Margarita, you're the reason I've been a bad dawn. Margarita, you're the reason I've been holding on. Margarita, you're the queen of every beggar's sign. Margarita, Margarita. Well, it was early in November on a cloudless sunny day. The sky grew thick with thunder and the birds all flew away. They shackled us like killers. We walked in single file. And Margarita, they've been talking, but I ain't heard a word. No, I've been dreaming. You could see me in my cell of steel and dirt, hidden from that sun, hanging straight up in the sky. I've been plucked like an apple left to rot and turn to wine. Margarita, you're the reason I've been a bad dawn. Margarita, you're the reason I've been holding on. Margarita, you're the queen of every beggar's sign. Margarita, Margarita. Oh, Margarita, Thanks so much. I'm just going to play a few more for you guys. This has been so much fun. Thank you so much, Jen and Eric, for turning your backyard into a lovely little amphitheater for me. This is fantastic. What a beautiful space to make music in, and thanks to Michigan for making it just a gorgeous day. It's like 200 degrees Fahrenheit in Austin right now, so this is pretty incredible. Actually, it's like Noah's Ark flooding in Austin right now. Have you guys been paying attention to that hurricane? Let's all just quickly send some energy to the hackberry tree in my yard and hope it doesn't fall onto my house, because that tree is old and top heavy, let's be honest. I'm going to play you guys a song that I recently learned through this really cool experience I had. I was recently interviewed by the U.S. government for a position with the State Department, which is not the punchline for a joke. They hire musicians to be musical ambassadors and to travel to different embassies and schools around the world and perform and teach workshops and do community concerts and kind of bring people together through music and creativity. And it's an amazing program, and I'm really honored to be talking to them about participating. I don't know if it'll happen or not, but even if it doesn't, I did get to learn a really cool song as part of the interview process. And I had the choice of a bunch of really neat international folk songs to learn, and I chose this traditional song from Lebanon. And a good friend of mine in Austin, who's also a musician, she's from Beirut, she came and helped me with the translation. And she told me what the original poem that it's based on means. And the poem translates to, I carve your name in the tree, my love. You write my name in the sand. After it rains, my name has washed away, but yours remains. And I just thought, oh my God,
God, they write sad folk songs in Lebanon too. I just felt so connected to like the sad lady folk singers of Lebanon, and I've really enjoyed singing this song all year. So I'm gonna play this for you guys. Tiktok bismak ya habibi ya helati, Tiktok bismak ya habibi ya heltari, Tiktok bismak ya habibi ya helati, Tiktok bismak ya habibi ya helati, Bukra betchatirani alu saslam jarraha, Beba ismak ya habibi ismi bien maha, Beba ismak ya habibi ismi bien maha. So some of you guys have first day of school tomorrow, is that right? Oh, my hearts are out to all of you, children and parents alike. Yeah, parents are psyched, you're right. Teachers, I guess. I don't know if we have any teachers in the audience. Yeah, it's funny, I remember, like, as a kid, how much I'd look forward to summer break and Christmas vacation, and now all my friends, like, dread it. I'm seeing a whole different side of it. So like I said, I've been out on the road pretty much full time for the last 10, 11 years. And in case you guys haven't had the experience of moving into a station wagon and driving around the country in circles and making a living, sharing your most intimate secrets with strangers in exchange for money, I wrote a song about what it's like. It's a weird job, but it's my weird job. Many fathoms, lived inside a covered wagon, sold my secrets wholesale every night. I've broken bread with petty tyrants, smuggled wine to fallen giants, battled demons right before your eyes. And now I try oceanside
beckon from the shore, tempted by the sea. Baby, don't let me be swallowed by the sea. Lived on luck and social graces, counted cards and covered bases, made believe till I was making do. Now where do I draw the line between fiddles and valentines? Swallowed by the sea, beckoned from the shore, tempted by the sea. I don't wanna be hungry anymore, but it's getting harder to ignore. Baby, don't let me be swallowed by the sea, swallowed by the sea. Yeah. I love a quiet, mighty pharaoh, reads my heart like holy tarot. Hold on, baby, please don't let me be swallowed by the sea, beckoned from the shore, tempted by the sweet. I don't wanna be a part in anymore, but I can't fight alone no more. Baby, don't let me be swallowed by the sea, swallowed by the sea, swallowed by the sea. Thank you. Thank you guys so much. Again, thank you, Jen. Thank you, Eric. Thanks to Julia and Danny and all the kiddos of the house for lending me your space and your parents' attention for a few hours. I'm going to just play one more song for you. This has been a delight. I hope when the show is done that you'll come say hi to me. On this table over here, I have an email list, kind of a makeshift piece of paper that I would love for you to give me your contact information so that I can send you long, drawn-out messages in the middle of the night about my personal problems. That's not what's going to happen, but I will let you know when I'm coming back. I'm playing at the Arc in November, opening for a guy named Steve Poltz, who's a total zany genius. Yeah, he's great. And I'm looking for, I'll hopefully be playing a few other gigs in the area while I'm here. So if you have any suggestions about places to check out, I'm all ears. And I've also got CDs and T-shirts over here. The T-shirts come in sizes small through double extra large. I've got my newest one. It has a picture of a determined young lady doing a cannonball into a swimming pool, and underneath it says, "Be brave." And then I've also got another one that has a really beautiful drawing of a human heart, and on top of that it says, "Be nice, damn it." That's like my personal motto. And if those are too bossy for you, I also have a shirt that has a picture of me just chilling in a shopping cart in an abandoned parking lot. That's the cover of my new record, Blink. Blink is on the table. It's a CD, but I know some of you guys maybe don't have CD players anymore because it's 2017. I'm with it. I'm cool. I roll with the times. My CD also comes in coloring book form. So you can buy this really beautiful coloring book. It's got illustrations for each song and lyrics for each song, and has a download code in the back, so you can download the full record straight into the brain of your computer and listen to it while you do some stress-relieving adult coloring or child coloring. There's some kids here. And then if you really don't have a CD player and you really want to just dive into the discography, I have what's called a digital box set, and it's a little thumb drive. It's about this big. It has my 3 most recent full-length studio albums plus an acoustic EP of like rarities and weird covers and stuff. So if any of that interests you, everything is listed on the table over there. There's a bowl of money. You can
make your own change, put money into the bowl, take change out of the bowl. It's between you and the bowl. You just take care of it. And I also take credit cards. Sometimes I give them back. So if any of that appeals to you, please do come say hi. I'm just there for the hugs and to sign whatever you want me to. Literally, I'll sign anything you put in front of me. Little known fact about Rebecca Loebe. Another fact that is slightly more well known is that in 2011, I participated in a TV show. I was on the reality show The Voice. And it was never like a goal of mine at all to be on a national network reality singing competition program. But they invited me to a private audition for the first season, and it sounded weird, but I also just figured it sounded like the kind of thing I wouldn't get picked for, because I'm kind of a folky singer-songwriter who tells stories and plays my, an old guitar. And I just didn't think it was for me, but I didn't think that I wasn't going to reject myself for them. So I went to the audition and just figured I'd take a backpack full of CDs and give them out to everyone and be super friendly, and that maybe someday one of the interns would work at a movie studio and put one of my songs in a feature film. I just that was my whole game for going. And I think I was so confident that I didn't have a chance in hell of getting picked that it somehow came across as actual confidence. Because I was really relaxed. I didn't have that this is my last chance. I was like, I'm already playing at Jen and Eric's house. I'm fine. I don't need you. And yeah, that's right. So I went in there pretty chill, and they asked me to come back the next day, and then they asked me to come to LA. They flew me out, and I just all along didn't think it would actually happen. And next thing you know, I was face to face with all the famous shiny people on TV, and I got picked, and I was out there for 6 weeks, filming this thing, and sequestered in a hotel. I was basically a prisoner. I wasn't allowed to leave. I wasn't allowed to tell anyone where I was, and I wasn't allowed to leave the building. It was nuts. I did have one friend in LA who I told we were allowed to order delivery, food. So he would come and pretend to be a sushi delivery guy. He got really into the character of sushi delivery guy. He'd bring a big bag of sushi, and he'd knock on the door and be like, "Hey, sushi delivery is here," and say it really loud so that everybody in the hall knew. And I opened the door, and my roommate, who was this 18-year-old girl who I'm sure thought that we were getting into something when he came to visit, she'd be like, "I'm gonna just go for a little while," and she'd leave. And then we'd just chill out and eat sushi and drink wine and play Scrabble. It was my only stress relief the whole time that I was out there. It was a hard experience. It was weird being out there, and what it really taught me was what I want out of my career as a musician, and it's not to be on reality TV, but also it taught me, kidding aside, what it feels like to be judged by an audience. There was the audience for my first performance on the show was 500 paid extras who were all dressed up just trying to be on TV for a second, looking at me wondering why I'm on TV and not them, and then there were the executive producers and the lawyers and the camera guys and the actual judges whose job was to judge me. It was very judgment oriented, and it taught me in 35 seconds what judgment is. And I learned very quickly that an audience like this, or at any theater or venue or cafe or showcase or anywhere I perform, we're all in the same team. We're all here to experience joy and creativity and love, and it's such a big deal to me that you guys would leave your house where you have the internet, you have all knowledge of the collected universe in your pocket, yet you're choosing to be here to share songs. That's a magical thing. So anyhow, I do appreciate The Voice for illustrating that to me so clearly. And I also had the experience of, I had a few other cool experiences. I hugged Adam Levine twice, and I haven't bathed since, so. No, people always ask if he's really as cute in person as he is on TV, and I will say that while empirically I can tell he's a attractive dude, I have a personal policy of not being attracted to guys who wear smaller jeans than I do. So he is disqualified. Sorry, Adam, but I'm sure he's heartbroken. He's got Bahati Prinsloo to cry him to sleep. Anyhow, but I will say that since our mentorship, I'm just really proud to say that his career has really skyrocketed, and I'm just so proud of him. So anyhow, the best part of that whole thing, though, was that I got to perform with the house band, and those guys are ringers. They had just ended their run with Cher in Vegas, and Cher doesn't mess around. They literally flew Cher's house band to LA to be that house band for The Voice, and those guys play over 1,000 songs per season without charts. They're rearranging a lot of them. They are just brilliant and so kind, and they were really generous with me creatively. Especially in the first season, they weren't really rearranging songs. Like, I brought in the song I wanted to do, and I had my own way I wanted to do it, and there was only one other contestant who did that in season 1, and they let me teach it to them the way I wanted to do it. And we had one 15-minute rehearsal before performing on national TV, yeah. And they only needed like the first 2 minutes of it. The rest of it was for me. Anyhow, so I'm going to sing the song for you now. This is a tune I had the bizarre privilege of performing on national television for 12 million people and 4 very judgmental pieces of furniture. Come as you are, as you were, as I want you to be, as a friend, as a trend, as an old enemy. Take your time, hurry up, the choice is yours, don't be late. Take a rest, as a friend, as an old memory. Come doused in mud, soaked in bleach, as I want you to be, as a friend, as a trend, as an old memory. And I swear that I don't have a gun. No, I don't have a gun. No, I don't have a gun. And I swear that I don't have a gun. No, I don't have a gun. No, I don't have a gun. Memory, yeah. Memory, Thank you guys so much. Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Eric. Please come say hi. I love to make friends. Thank you. That was so much fun.
Awesome. Thank you.
What a treat. What a treat. Thank you so much.
So everyone, thank you for coming tonight. That was amazing. Let's hear it again for Rebecca Loebe. So she will be selling some merch over here at the table. We have a donation box over there.